All right, hello and welcome everybody. Going to do a little different segment today with you. And most of you are used to me posting, different trades I'm doing, updates on the account, different strategies, sometimes some financial uh, and trading, rules and things like that. But what I want to spend some time on today is really talking about what I call financial fitness. Now, it's the beginning of the year here in 2025. We're 29 days in. Market's kind of just doing not a whole lot of nothing right now. But people set a lot of goals for themselves for the new year, and most of them, you don't follow through on. What is it? Quitting day, about 10 days into the year, people quit. But what I want you to start to think about a little bit more is getting yourself into financial fitness, getting yourself into financial shape. And some of you just jump into trading or you start investing. You watch people on YouTube, myself, others, what have you, giving some ideas. Oh, I want to do some trading. I think that looks good. Okay, but you really don't take the time to get yourself into shape properly. Just like going to a gym, okay, you can't get in shape if you just go and look at the equipment. And also, you don't start on day one, doing, a ton of weight and a ton of reps. You got to ease your way into it a little bit. Great, reminded me of a good story this week. My daughter, who is a college athlete, uh, decided to do some hot yoga classes. And, after the first class, she was pretty sore and she's in really, really good shape. Again, why? Because using muscles that you maybe haven't used before in a different way. So, financial fitness is the same type of thing. And what I want you to think about here, and I'm going to share some training with you, and I think you're going to find some really good stuff here as we go through. But I want you to understand how to, invest, save, budget, get ready to achieve those hopefully longer term goals that you have. And money is tricky. It's a tricky subject, and we all use it every day, but really we don't learn about how to make more of it. And that's my goal here over the next series that we're going to do here on this. And I'm going to put a bunch of these out. But I'm going to take you everything from budgeting and saving to investing, and some other personal finance things that we may do, as well as trading. There's a lot involved in that, but we're going to break it all down. But really, at the core here, why does financial literacy matter? And financial literacy, it's the ability to understand and effectively use your various financial skills. Everything from personal financial management to budgeting, investing, savings. Okay? It's not just being able to balance a checkbook, which I don't even know a lot of people that even balance their checkbook anymore. I kind of gave up on that, to be honest with you. And I have a background in accounting. So I do balance books. I do run multiple companies out there. I do most all of my own accounting. I can balance a checkbook and actually balance, family members' checkbooks and so forth. But it's not just balancing a checkbook, which a lot of people don't do. They just check their balances online and they keep moving forward. But it's also about making informed decisions to secure a more comfortable life for yourself. So knowing how to manage your money, I think, is going to help you avoid debt, save for future goals, and build wealth. And you can't build wealth by just using a couple $1,000s and trying to emulate some trades from some people on Twitter and YouTube and maybe in some different groups that you have. You've got to build that stockpile. The easiest way to grow a small account is put more money into it, not trade your way to it. I'm glad there are 500 to $1 million challenges, or 10,000 to a million challenge, or 10,000 to a half a million. It's great. These challenges are fine. Most of you can't stick with it. You can't time correctly. You're trying to follow along. It doesn't work. Even though people can do that, and there's some really great traders out there, you shouldn't be starting there. The easiest way for you to grow that account is to keep putting money into it and then learning to trade and invest on your own. So, we're going to talk about how to budget, save some money, invest wisely, and avoid some of the common pitfalls that happen to people out there. So I hope this is helpful. Let's dive into it and just give you a little sense of what it is. And financial fitness really refers to the ability to manage your personal finances in a way that supports your long-term well-being, stability, growth, lifestyle. And it's important because you got to have that foundation to achieve your goals. Can you keep putting in $400, $500, $1,000 into your investing accounts, and so that you can continue to grow them at a faster rate. It takes a while to get those growing, but the more money you can plow in, the better off you're going to be with it. You can create that foundation. It's also going to help alleviate stress that could be caused by poor money management or debt out there. A lot of people are just on that treadmill. They're in the rat race. They can't get out of it. They're on a treadmill because you got too much debt. You're not budgeting well, and you don't have that mindset shift that this is just like physical fitness and we need regular effort and discipline. So let me share a few things with you here as we walk through this. All right. So three key principles. And I love the number three. Everything revolves, in my opinion, around the number three. So what are three key principles to financial fitness? Number one, it's budgeting. You need a clear plan on how money is going to be earned, spent, saved, and invested. You have to have that budget. Okay. Without a budget, you don't have any structure. You can't run a business, and your financial business, which is what we're going to talk about here, is what's going to affect your life and your children and families' lives for decades to come. So you got to get yourself into the habit of really having a good structured budget. Number two, it's debt management. You got to get rid of this high interest debt or debt that is what I consider there's good debt and bad debt. I don't want to get too deep into it here because we'll talk about it more, but good debt is buying assets that pay cash and generate cash flow. Okay. What assets generate cash flow? Could be real estate. Okay. Could be stocks and things like that. Okay. Potentially taking out money to buy those. Okay. If you do it right. Okay. Makes sense. Bad debt would be, and you're not going to like it, but a car, terrible. Okay. A car is probably one of the worst things you can do because all it's going to do is drop in value. It doesn't generate cash, but yet you're going to take out debt to do that. I'd rather you took out debt to buy some sort of asset that's going to generate return. Your personal home, a home, another terrible idea. Okay. Some of us have to do it because we want to build this place we don't have to do it, but many of us want to do it because we want to create this place for our family to call our own, raise our kids, and all that. That's great, but you could also just rent instead of owning. And when you're owning a home, you're paying ridiculous amounts of income. Sometimes, up to the same amount that of income that is into your house. Okay, then you have maintenance, you have property taxes, you have insurance, you have things that can go wrong and break. And a house doesn't appreciate much, maybe 3% a year or something like that. Okay. The stock market appreciates at about 10% a year. Imagine if you put that same amount of money that you borrowed for a house into the stock market, you could buy 10 of those houses in 10 years. Okay. So debt management, we got to get rid of that debt. We got to get rid of pretty much all debt, unless it's that good debt that generates cash flow. So I want you to manage your liabilities, and then saving and investing. I want you to build an emergency fund first. Then we put money into savings and investments that can grow over time. We're going to talk about the bucket method here, but do you have 6 months of emergency cash set aside that you never touch? Once you've got that, are you now allocating that savings into investment accounts, into long-term investments? And then once you've got that rolling, are you able to put those funds now and split them a little bit between investments that you've already got cooking and maybe it's some discretionary so that you can be doing some trading and generate additional cash flow, because cash flow is what's king. We got to generate additional income sources and cash flow, and certainly trading can do that for you. So let's talk about a quick three-step financial planning process. Number one, assess your current situation. List all your assets, all your liabilities. It's a good little practice for you to do, especially at this time of the year, at the beginning of the year. So list all your assets and liabilities, cash, savings, investments, real estate, whatever you might have. Okay. And your liabilities like loans, credit card debt, car loans, house loans, home loans, whatever you might have. Okay. And calculate your net worth. So take your liabilities, subtract them from your assets, and get an idea of what you're worth. You might be surprised, good or bad, of what you're actually worth. Then I want you to review your monthly cash flow. What's your income and what's your expenses look like? Are you able to save a large chunk. And I'm going to talk about it later, but I'm going to suggest that you should be putting away 30% of your take-home pay. Most of you are going to post something, comment in here that 30% is ridiculous. I can't even do that. Probably because you have too much debt. You're paying too much for your stupid car. You have a house payment that's way too big for you. You have too much debt, or you're not making enough money. So, how can you create more income? How do you generate more income? So, knowing your monthly cash flow is important. Okay? And maybe either use a spreadsheet or some sort of app that's out there. Maybe it's the old QuickBooks or something like that that you use. But monitor your cash flow and what you're doing. Okay? Because you can't improve something if you're not tracking it. Okay? If you track it, then you can fix it. Number one. Number two, set some measurable goals. So before we really get into some things here, what are the goals that you want to accomplish? What do you want to achieve? Maybe you want to pay off student loans, pay off your home, pay off high interest debt that we just talked about, building that emergency funds. What are you trying to achieve? Or is it retirement? I want to generate, X amount, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million by, when I retire. Okay. And not just $1 million. Okay. Everybody talks about getting to $1 million, but that's really not a lot. And most people never even make it there. Okay. I want you to exceed and blow past that. So set some goals for yourself, and they should be SMART goals, which is specific and measurable, something that's achievable, something that's relevant, and time bound. And time bound means we have a date. I want to get to $1 million in 25 years. I want to get to a $50,000 savings account in 6 months. Okay, then put your money aside. Don't start investing and trading and all that unless you've got that 6 month emergency fund, or if you've got weddings or vacations or something like that that are really important. Okay, get those saved first, then take that extra cash and move it aside. All right, and then categorize your goals: short term, medium, long term, and then lastly, I want you to create a budget based upon those goals. Okay, what are your fixed expenses, things you can't change, like your rent or your mortgage or your utilities, potentially transportation, groceries, they're fixed for now, but you can do better. Do you do some shopping at like an Aldi versus shopping at like a high-end grocery store, Home Goods or Home Foods or whatever, I should say, or a Heinen's or something that's more expensive? Where do you shop? Can you cut some expenses there on your groceries? Transportation, do you really need that high end of a car? Okay. Do you really need to be driving a BMW when you could be driving a, Honda or a, you know, Toyota Camry or something along those lines? Saving yourself, and do you need new or could you be driving used? Okay. Are your friends really that needed to impress? Do you really need to impress everybody by driving the BMW where you have like no savings? Okay. Or can you be building your savings so that you can afford some of these luxury items maybe later on? So create that budget and look at your discretionary expenses here too. Entertainment, dining out, non-essentials. Do you really need those? Can we live beneath our means a little bit? Then we're going to, create that savings and create that bucket. So I use the three bucket method. Number one bucket is short-term goals and your emergency cash savings. Again, 6 months of your take-home pay should be enough. Okay. Once that's full, we now move on to the next bucket, which is growth. I want you to open long-term investments, stocks, ETFs, retirement accounts, potentially long-term things, maybe even a house at some point down the road or a college education for your kids. But we need to grow our pot, okay, so that we can afford those things and do those things down the road. It's most important to start your growth fund first. Okay. Then bucket three would be discretionary or trading. This is where we can get into maybe more speculative investments overall. So that's where I want you to get to. Take this video, take some time, and here's the two things I really want you to do. Number one, I want you to create a personal financial snapshot. So go and write down your assets, your liabilities, your income and expenses, and create that snapshot of your net worth and your income statement, your personal income statement. Okay. Once you've done that, then I want you to also set three financial goals for yourself. One short term, one medium term, one long term. Okay. If you just do this, you're going to realize some areas where you can pull some extra money out and create that savings plan. Can we get that savings to 30%? Boy, that's going to be tough. It's going to strap us. Okay. Well, I don't want you to be uncomfortable and not enjoying life. Okay. But most of you will take 50 years of working to enjoy 10, where had you saved more early on, okay, do you really want to work and spend a ton and have nothing left to and not have enough to enjoy that for a short period of time? I want you to grow these funds early. Let the power of compounding, okay, really expand your wealth so that you can retire early, you can enjoy that financial freedom. And if you want to get into some more trading and some other things like we do here on our channel, then you have the funds to do that. But number one, you got to start somewhere, get yourself going on your financial fitness plan. If you think this video was helpful to you, give me the thumbs up down below. Share it with people that you know. Let's get them started off right in 2025. We're going to do more on this. We're going to cover how to eliminate debt. We're going to cover how to save more. We're going to cover how to create long-term investment plans. And then we'll get into some other trading. Of course, I'm going to give trading tips and videos as we go, but I want you to start somewhere and get this going. Okay, so that you can grow that account, okay, and grow it faster. So how do we really create a tight budget where I can save more money quicker and just keep plowing that into my investment account? If you can do that, you're going to grow a whole lot quicker. You're going to hit that $1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million much faster. Have a great rest of your night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.